Welcome back, YouTube. Hope you guys are doing well. We are at Gampo Najong Beach, Gampo area within the Gyeongju greater area. Finally making it to the beach in Gyeongju. And you might ask, how did I get here? Ta-da! Your boy finally got his license in Korea, so I could drive, rent a car. It feels so good to have that car freedom once again. So one of the first things I wanted to do was drive to one of the local beaches and check it out. So this is the Najong Beach. There are a couple beaches to head to in Gampo, a couple things to see, but so far we're just going to check out this beach and have a great day. All right, see you in a little bit. All right, this is the maybe famous Najong Beach. Quite different from Haeundae or Hwanggang. There's actually like a lot of things on the beach, like, you know, chicken and beer and things like that. However, these rentals though, don't do it because it is super expensive. We tried another beach earlier. We were at the Oryu beach and they had the same setup. But the other beach was 40,000 and then this one is 50,000 won for the whole day to rent these little tents. Granted, they are nice, much nicer than like going to Haeundae because you got a little table and all that. But 50,000 is still a lot, especially since we don't really plan on being here the whole day. Woo! Dude, I am so excited that I can actually drive to this place. For those of you curious, it is about an hour-ish drive from the main Gyeongju area. If you guys can't drive here, then by bus it's almost 2 hours to get over here with a couple of transfers. So I think it is a lot more recommended, if you can, try and rent a car to make your way over the Gampo. All right, take a swim. Oh. Woo! Water is actually really cold. It's pretty freezing, to be honest. Oh. Yeah. Woo. What's interesting too is that they said that the water, because the water is super cold, they said that you should warm up before you get in the water. It's not too bad. I think it's pretty freezing, but I think once you get used to it, it's not too bad actually. But we'll kind of spend the time here, and then we're gonna check out some other cool places in Gampo. See you in a little bit, YouTube. All right, YouTube, we're at a different beach now. We just finished swimming at Najong. It was nice, but at the same time, the beach was the water was a little dirty today. And the bottom was really rocky. Personally don't recommend Najong Beach as the beach to go to swim. All right, we are at Bonggil Haebyeon. It's another beach, a little, maybe like 10-minute drive from where we were previously. But this beach is special because it houses the tomb of King Munmu. There it is in all of its glory. King Munmu is the 30th emperor and the first emperor of the unified Shilla Kingdom. So after the Three Kingdom War is finished and all is under Shilla control, he's housed right over here. He was asked to be buried in the East Sea after death, so that way he could become a rising dragon to protect Korea or Shilla from any foreign invaders or anything, which is super cool. I think the history behind King Munmu is really cool. Although it is debated right now whether his ashes were scattered or if they're actually in an urn somewhere buried beneath, or if they are buried beneath the rock somewhere. But it's super cool. Otherwise, you can take a swim at this beach as well. I don't know, party it up with King Munmu. Love his name. But yeah. One of the reasons to come to this beach specifically is to come and pay respects or come see the tomb of King Munmu, which is now covered in seagulls. I wonder if he ever did rise as a dragon. Hey, we're back home after a long drive. It was we ended up going down to Busan, but just kind of driving around Busan, getting some lunch. Not really anything crazy, but I did want to just kind of go over real quick about the license. That's kind of why I wanted to do this video. Yeah, we went to the beach, we went to Gampo, but most importantly, I wanted to kind of go over the license. and how to get one if you are planning to drive in Korea, because the process can be simple but can also be very complicated depending on where you're from. So to get the license in Korea, you do need to provide a couple of documents. Not a lot, not compared to getting a visa. You need your passport, obviously. You need to get like a proof of entry. It's not really proof, but more like hey, I entered the country on this date and this time. It's basically a paper that gives you a history of your entry and exit of the country from the earliest time to now. And this can be done at your local government office. It was like 2001 to get it, so not really complicated. And then you do need to apostille your driver license. So that one does take a little while, but again, I do recommend Monument Visa. That's the online website I use to do my E2 stuff, and they also do driver license. It's about $160, but I did do a rush order on it, and it did come pretty fast, so I think it's worth it. But yeah, it is very pricey, so I do recommend doing this in your own country if you can before coming to Korea. But otherwise, the option to do it online is available. They don't even take your license. They will just accept a scanned copy of your license, and that will be fine. So once you have these documents, then you need to obviously go to the local quote-unquote DMV, the motor vehicle center. In Gyeongju, the closest one is in Pohang. So that was a trip. And boy, let me tell you, it was not fun, because they do recommend to tell you get there at 9 to 9:30. I got there at 10, which was still pretty early, but there was only one guy working for like all the foreigners that could be there. Thankfully, there weren't too many foreigners, but there were enough to make it so my process or the process for my paperwork would take a lot longer. So waiting from 10 a.m., I wasn't done till 2 p.m. There was also a little hassle with my paperwork. For whatever reason, if you guys do end up doing this, make sure to renew your license before you come to the country. I had renewed my license while I was in Korea, which can be done online, in California at least. I don't know about other states or other countries. And they send me the new one. But the guy was super confused for some reason that I had renewed my license online. He thought, well, how come you weren't in your country when you did this, blah, blah, blah. So it took a little while to convince the guy. I was like, yes, I did this. It's online. This is my license. I even had to pay like $2 extra to get a history of my license from the state, basically. So, I mean, thankfully everything got processed, but it was a bit of a headache for a little while because the guy, I mean, I guess he's doing his job, but it was very annoying. Then you have to take the written test. So this is the only point that is a little different depending where you're from. Certain countries and even certain states within America do not have to take the written test to get their license. Once you provide the paperwork, you're able to just exchange your license with the Korean license. Now there is a stipulation to this. When you exchange your license, they basically keep your driver's license, and anytime you want to leave, you got to remember to go pick it up because they're not going to do it for you. So let's say, for example, you decide to leave Korea, you're not going to come back and stay here, you got to remember to go and pick up your license from the vehicle department before you leave. Otherwise, you're going to just end up not having your license. But for the other countries and states that aren't part of this program or whatever it is, you do have to take the written exam, which California, unfortunately, is part of that. So, or isn't part of that. So I had to take the written exam. The written exam isn't super complicated, but I don't recommend listening to anyone on forums and stuff because there's a bunch of people on there that was like, oh, it's super easy, super easy. I don't trust them because I've taken the California DMV I've taken the California license test and that was easy. But the questions they ask you in the Korean license exam can be not easy. And by that I mean they'll ask you questions that are super specific, detailed, that you'll never know or ever need to know for driving. For example, I assume all of you guys out there driving are not going to be drinking and driving. So many of you might not even know what payment you would have what would be required of you if you are under the influence while driving. I personally don't know how much money I would pay in America, or in any state for that matter, if I was caught drunk driving. because it never crossed my mind to do something like that. But that would be one of the questions on the exam, where they're like, how much money are you going to pay if this person drives under the influence, and how much jail time they're going to get? Dude, I don't know, man, because that's not what I'm going to do. So there are some questions that are just very specific, and there is an app I can recommend to download, and it does have the questions in English for helping study. That's what I use for study, and it was super helpful. Like, some of the questions I saw in the exam were on the application as well, so studying was really, really helpful, just for those specific questions. Obviously, there are still questions like, what does this road sign mean, that are pretty simple as well. So it's just like a give and take. So don't go into the exam thinking that it's going to be easy. To pass the exam, you do need a 60, a minimum of 60. I don't know if it's like a 60 out of 100 or whatever it is, but you need a minimum amount of 60 to pass the exam, and it's an exam of 40 questions. Not super long. It's all done on a computer, but it can be very stressful. I passed with a 65. Not the best, but a pass is a pass. Anyways, I got my license. It is valid for 10 years, so that is very nice. Don't have to worry about that. And yeah, that's the whole process. It's pretty simple in some aspects, but in other aspects it can be very, very long. Like I said, I was there from 10 a.m. I didn't leave till about 2 p.m. because I couldn't do the 11 a.m. exam that day, because they still need to process my paperwork. So just letting you guys know, if you guys plan on driving in Korea, that is an option for you to get the license if you're living here long term. Otherwise, I do recommend getting the international driver's permit. That's what I used the first time I arrived in Korea. That's going to be the best thing to use if you're not going to be here for long term. And that can be done also prior to visiting the country, which I do recommend. If you're in America, AAA does it. I don't know about other countries. But yeah, if you guys are living here long term, I know there's probably some foreigners who probably lived here in a while and never thought about getting their license. Or maybe people who are planning to move to Korea are worried about not being able to drive. That's why hopefully this was helpful to all of you. If you guys have any more questions, please drop some comments if you're not sure what to do, where to go. You don't need to make an appointment. In some places they might say they require an appointment, but I don't think you need to make an appointment, because for foreigners it's always just going to be a waiting game. So I highly recommend, if you're going to do this, pick a day where you literally have nothing to do and just be there all day. Be prepared to be there all day, because it's probably going to take all day. And so with that license acquired, hopefully we should be able to visit many new places in Korea with either a car or some other form of transportation. There are some specific vehicles in Gyeongju that I couldn't ride without the license before, and now I can, so I'll probably try those out. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys learned, and thanks so much for watching. As always, YouTube. See you guys next week for another awesome video, hopefully a little less educational. All right, peace out.